There are people who spend their whole lives asking for more. More money, more help, more luck. But only a few ever stop to ask themselves a different question. What do I have to give? Because the truth is, life doesn't reward those who keep asking. It rewards those who give something of value, no matter how small. This is the story of one beggar who sat at a train station with nothing but an empty bowl until one stranger's words opened his eyes and turned his life into a lesson we all need to learn. Once, in a crowded city train station, there lived a beggar named Musa. Every morning, he sat near the ticket counter with his old tin cup, asking passengers for a few coins to survive the day. Most people passed him without even looking. Some dropped a few coins, others turned away. That was his life, day after day. One afternoon, as Musa stretched out his hand to another passerby, he noticed a tall man in a clean suit walking by. The man looked confident, the kind of person who had everything Musa wished for. So Musa thought, "He looks rich. Maybe he'll help me." He hurried to the man and said, "Sir, please, spare some change." The man stopped, looked at him for a moment, and asked calmly, "You're always asking people for money. Tell me, do you ever give anything to anyone?" Musa blinked, confused. "Sir, I'm just a beggar. I don't have anything to give." The man smiled faintly and said, "Then you have no right to ask. In life, we receive only when we give. I'm a businessman. I believe in trade, not charity. If you have something to give me, I'll gladly give you something in return." Before Musa could reply, the man boarded his train and left. Those words struck deep in Musa's heart. That night, as he sat alone on the cold floor of the station, he kept hearing those words. If you can't give, you have no right to ask. He couldn't sleep. He thought, maybe that's why people ignore me. I only take, I never give. But then another thought came. I'm just a beggar. What can I possibly give? Days passed. Then, one morning, Musa noticed something he had never really seen before. Small white flowers blooming near the station fence. An idea sparked in his mind. He picked a few, arranged them neatly, and decided, from today, whoever gives me money, I'll give them a flower in return. That day, something magical happened. People smiled when he handed them flowers. Some even stopped to talk to him. The more he gave, the more he received. Every morning, he began by picking fresh flowers. As long as he had flowers to give, people gave him money gladly. When he ran out of flowers, no one stopped, and that taught him another truth. The world rewards those who give value. Weeks passed. Musa's small act of giving turned into a habit, and a habit turned into a dream. One day, as he was handing out flowers, he saw the same tall man again, the businessman who had once refused him. Musa ran up to him, smiling. "Sir," he said proudly, "today I have something to give you. Please, buy a flower." The man smiled, handed him some money, and took the flower gently. He looked Musa in the eyes and said, "Now you understand. You're not a beggar anymore, you're a businessman." For the first time, Musa felt warmth rise inside him, not from the money, but from pride. He realized that the man's words had changed his life. He looked up at the sky and whispered, "I am not a beggar. I am a giver. I am a businessman." From that day on, he never returned to the station as a beggar. Months later, two men in suits met at the same train station. One of them was the tall businessman, waiting for his train. The other, dressed smartly with a bouquet of fresh flowers in his hand, smiled and said, "Do you remember me?" The businessman frowned. "I don't think so." The man laughed. "We've met twice before, once when I was a beggar, and again when I sold you a flower. Now, I own a flower shop." The businessman's face lit up with surprise. "You mean, you're that beggar?" "Yes," Musa said proudly. "You taught me that we receive only when we give. I started small with flowers, and now I supply flowers to hotels across the city. You showed me the rule of life, and it truly works." The two men shook hands warmly. The businessman smiled and said, "I didn't give you money that day, but I guess I gave you something more valuable." Musa nodded. "Yes, sir. You gave me a new way to see myself." And as the train whistled in the distance, both men stood there smiling, knowing that success truly begins in the mind. In life, we receive only when we give. The moment you start adding value, no matter how small, you stop being a beggar and start becoming a creator. Success doesn't start with money. It starts with a giving heart and a new mindset.